Samantha Rivera stood frozen in her darkened apartment at 2:33 in the morning, her phone clutched in her trembling hand, recording nothing but static. But she had heard it, clear as day. A child's voice whispering from the shadows of her empty bedroom, saying words that made her blood run cold. "Don't be afraid, Mom. I'm coming soon." The problem was, Samantha didn't have children. She lived alone, and she had no idea that in that very moment, a life was already growing inside her. A life that somehow, impossibly, was already trying to communicate. If this story gives you chills, hit that like button and subscribe to hear more incredible true stories. And tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? Samantha had always prided herself on being logical. As an emergency room nurse at Seattle General Hospital, she dealt with life and death situations every single day. She didn't believe in ghosts or anything that couldn't be explained by science, which is exactly why that voice terrified her. She searched every corner of her apartment, every closet, every window, every lock. Everything was secure. She was completely alone. By dawn, she had convinced herself it was just a stress dream from her brutal double shifts at the hospital. 3 days passed normally. Her best friend, Dr. Priya Kapoor, noticed something was off during their lunch break. Samantha had barely touched her food, her eyes constantly darting around as if expecting something to appear. When Priya asked what was wrong, Samantha laughed it off, saying she felt like someone was watching her. But that feeling wouldn't go away. Then it happened again. 3 nights later, Samantha was sitting in her living room, fully awake, reading a medical journal. The voice came again, soft and gentle. "Mom, don't worry. Everything will be okay." Samantha grabbed her phone and hit record. She played it back immediately. Nothing but static. But she had heard it. She knew she had heard it. This time, sleep was impossible. Samantha spent the entire night researching auditory hallucinations and every medical explanation she could find. The voice wasn't threatening. It was comforting, loving. It called her Mom. By the end of the week, Priya had dragged Samantha to see Dr. Elena Hartwick, a psychiatrist at the hospital. Samantha felt humiliated admitting she was hearing voices. Dr. Hartwick listened carefully, then asked something unexpected. "When was your last menstrual period?" Samantha's mind went blank. She tried to remember, counting back weeks. 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. She had been so stressed she hadn't even noticed. Dr. Hartwick's expression softened. "Let's rule out the obvious first." 20 minutes later, Samantha stared at 2 pink lines on a plastic test. Pregnant. Her mind raced back 8 weeks to one night with Marcus Holloway, her ex-boyfriend. They had broken up 2 years prior, but that one night they had fallen back into old patterns. It was supposed to be closure. Instead, it had created a life. And then the terrifying thought hit her. The voice had called her mom 3 days before she even knew she was pregnant. How was that possible? That night, Samantha lay in bed waiting. At 11:37, the voice returned. "I know you're scared, Mom, but you're stronger than you think." Tears streamed down Samantha's face. "How are you doing this?" she whispered. "Who are you?" There was a pause. Then the voice came again. "I'm your daughter, and I chose you." Samantha's hands moved to her still flat stomach. This was impossible. A 6-week embryo couldn't think, couldn't communicate. Yet here she was, having a conversation with something that defied every law of nature. The next 2 weeks, Samantha researched frantically. No medical journals documented fetuses communicating before birth. When she called Marcus about the pregnancy, he was engaged to someone else. He'd provide financial support, nothing more. Samantha felt utterly alone. That night, sitting on her bathroom floor, she considered termination. Not because she didn't want a child, but because she was terrified of being unstable. As she sobbed, the voice came stronger. "Mom, I chose you. You're exactly who I need." The voice then said something that changed everything. "Grandma's locket is behind the heating vent in your old room, the one you lost when you were 12. Samantha's blood went cold. That locket had been missing 15 years. She called her mother, Diane Rivera, at midnight. Minutes later, her mother gasped, "It's here, how did you know?" The voice had given undeniable proof. Over the next weeks, Layla proved herself again and again. She predicted Priya's engagement. She told Samantha that Mr. Peterson in room 317 would code in 4 minutes. Samantha raced to the hospital. The nurse thought she was crazy. 3 minutes and 40 seconds later, alarms screamed. They saved his life. After saving Mr. Peterson, Samantha told Priya everything. "I can't explain it," Priya said, "but something extraordinary is happening." Samantha started having conversations with Layla, who explained some souls remembered before birth. She couldn't predict everything, but she knew Samantha's life, her fears. She loved her mother before taking her first breath. Samantha canceled her termination appointment and started preparing a nursery. At 28 weeks, Marcus returned. His engagement had ended. He wanted to be involved. Layla's voice surprised Samantha. "Give him a chance, Mom. Everyone deserves grace." She let him back in slowly. They became a family, unconventional but real. Everything changed at 32 weeks. Samantha woke to Layla's voice, more urgent than ever. "Mom, listen carefully. Tomorrow at the hospital, don't take the south stairwell at 3:15 p.m. Use the elevator. Promise me." Samantha's heart raced. What's going to happen? But Layla wouldn't say more, just kept repeating the warning. The next day at 3:10 p.m., the fire alarm blared through the hospital. Everyone had to evacuate using stairwells, not elevators. The entire staff moved toward exits. Priya grabbed Samantha's arm. "Come on, south stairwell is closest." Samantha pulled away. "No, I'm taking the elevator." Priya looked at her like she was insane. "That's against every safety protocol." But Samantha trusted Layla. She walked to the elevator and pressed the button. As the elevator descended, she heard it. A massive, earth-shattering crash from above. The building shook. When the doors opened on the ground floor, chaos erupted. The south stairwell had collapsed. 7 people were injured. One man, construction inspector Vincent Torres, was killed instantly. If Samantha had been in that stairwell 32 weeks pregnant, she and Layla would both be dead. Samantha stood in the parking lot, wrapped in a shock blanket, and wept. The voice came, soft and gentle. "This is why I could speak early, Mom. You needed me to protect you, so I could be born. Our souls knew we needed each other." Samantha understood. This miracle wasn't random. It was simply about love. A daughter's love so strong it transcended normal boundaries. Layla had saved them both. At 39 weeks, Samantha went into labor. Marcus held one hand. Priya held the other. Her mother, Diane, had flown in from California. Throughout labor, Layla's voice guided her. "Breathe, Mom, you're doing amazing." When contractions became unbearable, Layla whispered encouragement. "I'm coming, Mom. Thank you for being brave enough to love me." Then came silence. The voice stopped. In its place came a newborn's cry. The doctor placed a small, perfect infant on Samantha's chest. Layla was here, in the world, in her arms, warm and alive. Samantha looked down at her daughter's face and saw her open her eyes. Dark eyes that seemed to look with recognition, with knowledge, with love that predated birth itself. "Hi, Layla," Samantha whispered. "I've been waiting to meet you." The baby stopped crying and stared with intensity that made everyone pause. Weeks later, Samantha sat in the nursery holding 3-week-old Layla. She whispered, "Do you remember?" Layla didn't respond with words. That gift had ended. But as Samantha looked into her daughter's eyes, she saw it. Recognition. Memory. The baby smiled. Layla remembered. Maybe the memories would fade, but in that moment, they both knew. They had spoken across impossible boundaries and saved each other. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more incredible true stories that remind us the world is far more mysterious and beautiful than we imagine.